children
Some
are
children are
inquisitive.
inquisitive.
And I know
And
this
I know
seems
this
like a
seems
really
like a
long
really
and
long
big
and
English
big
word,
English word,
but we do
but
use
we do
this
use
word.
this word.
We will say
We will
things
say
like,
things
oh,
like, oh,
one of my
one of
children
my
is really
children is really
inquisitive, or
inquisitive,
my
or
neighbor's
my
kid
neighbor's
is
kid
really
is really
inquisitive,
inquisitive,
or my
or
nephew
my
or niece
nephew
is
or
very
niece is very
inquisitive. An
inquisitive.
inquisitive
An
child
inquisitive
is
child is
interested
interested
in the things
in the
around
things
them.
around
So
them.
in this
So in
picture,
this
you can
picture, you
see
can
an
see
adult
an
playing a
adult
guitar,
playing a
and the
guitar, and
child
the
is
child is
interested.
interested.
The child
The
is
child
being
is being
inquisitive. They want to
inquisitive.
know
They
where the
want to know
sounds
where the
come
sounds
from.
comes from.
Maybe they want to
Maybe they
play
want
the
to play
strings
the strings
themselves.
themselves.
My children
My
have
children
always
have
been
always been
inquisitive. It's
inquisitive.
really
It's
cool.
really
So when
cool.
I
So
do
when
things,
I do
they
things,
like to
they
ask me
like to ask
questions
me
about it.
questions about it.
They're not
They're
as
not as
inquisitive
inquisitive
about the
about
flower
the
farm, though.
flower
They
farm, though.
like
They like
computers,
computers,
but they don't all
but they
like
don't all
flower
like
farming. So
flower
hopefully
farms.
they
Hopefully,
grow
they
into
grow
it.
into
So
it.
this maybe
This
is going to
maybe
be the one that
one
describes
that
Brett, because I
describes
saw he
Brett. I
said that
saw
he
he
was
said he
his
was
parents'
his
dream
parents' dream
child.
child.
Maybe Brett was well behaved. A
Maybe
well
Rest were
behaved
well
child
behaved. A
is a
well behaved
child who
child is a child
doesn't break the
doesn't
rules.
break the
A
rules.
well
A
behaved
well behaved
child
child
does what
does
their
what
parents
their
tell them to
parents tell
do.
them to do.
A well
A
behaved
well behaved
child at
child at
school
school
listens to the
listens to
teacher.
the teachers.
When the teacher
When the
gives
teachers gives
instructions, a
instructions,
well
a
behaved
well
child will
behaved
say,
child.
okay, no
Okay, no
problem.
problem.
So different
So
than a
definitely
spoiled
different than a
child, or
spoiled
maybe
child,
an
maybe an
entitled child.
entitled child.
A well
A
behaved
well
child
behaved child
is just a
is
nice
just a
kid.
nice
That
kid.
would probably be how
That
we
would
would
be how we
describe them as
describe
well.
them as
Your
well.
children are
Your
very well
children are
behaved.
very well
People would
behaved. People
sometimes
would
say that
sometimes
to
say
me,
that to me,
and then I would
and
say,
they will
you should
say,
see
"You
them
should
at
see them
home.
at home."
Sometimes when we
Sometimes
were out in
when we were
public,
out in
when our
public,
children were
when our
younger, they were
children
well
were younger,
behaved.
they
They
was
were
well
always well
behaved. They
behaved
was
in public,
always well
but
behaved in
not
public,
always well
but
behaved
not
at home.
always well
So
behaved.
there you go. Some
There
good
you go.
information
Some
about the term well
information
behaved.
about the term well behaved.
So the opposite of well
So the
behaved
opposite of
would
well
be
behaved would be
rebellious.
rebellious.
This word is
This word
often
is
used
often
when
used
talking
when
about
talking about
teenagers.
teenagers.
Some teenagers
Some
go through a
teenagers
rebellious
who are
stage
rebellious stage
or a
or
rebellious
a
phase in
rebellious
their
phase
life.
in their
So
life.
sometime
So
around
sometimes
age
around age
14 or
14 or
15
15
until they're about
until
20
they're
or
about 20 or
21,
21,
they
they
rebel. They
rebel.
don't want to
They don't
listen
want to
to
listen
people
to
who are in
people who
charge
are
of
in
them.
charge of them.
They don't want
They
to
don't want
listen
to
to
listen
authority.
to
So rebellious teenagers
authority.
sometimes don't
Rebellious
listen to their
teenagers
parents. They don't listen to their
sometimes don't listen to
teachers.
their teachers.
Sometimes they get in
Sometimes
trouble with
they
the
get in
law.
trouble with the
And
law.
sometimes
And
they
sometimes
engage
they
in
engage
behavior
in
that we
behavior
call
that we call
self-destructive.
self-destructive.
Okay, so a rebellious
So a
teenager
rebellious
might do
teenagers
things
might
that
do
are
things that are
self-destructive,
self-destructive,
like
like
smoking.
smoking.
Sometimes maybe they do
Sometimes maybe they
drugs,
do
but
drugs.
definitely
But definitely
teenagers who
teenagers
are
who are
rebellious
rebellious
do not
do
listen
not
to
listen
teachers,
to
do not
teachers,
listen
do
to
not
their
listen to
parents.
their
Rebellious
parents.
teachers
Rebellious
are
teachers.
rebellious teachers. That was a little slip there. Yes, teachers are sometimes
Teachers
rebellious,
are
but
sometimes
that's not what I
rebellious.
meant.
That's not
Rebellious teenagers
rebellious teenagers
just don't
just don't
listen to
listen to
people
people
in
in
authority over them.
authority over them.
When I use the
When I
phrase
use the
in
phrase
authority,
in
that would
authority,
mean
that
parents
means
or
parents
their boss or their
or their
teachers, people
teachers,
who are in
people who
authority
are
over
in
them.
authority over them.
You might have
You might have
run into a
run
child
into
who
a
is
child
alert.
who is alert.
A child who
A
is
child
alert.
who is alert.
Well, it's the opposite of
The
a child
opposite of
who
a
falls
child who's
asleep.
fallen asleep.
When we would
When
drive
we
in our
just
van
drive
a long distance,
drive
some
our
of our
van in
kids
long
would fall
distance, some
asleep.
of us will fall
But
asleep.
we have other
But we
kids
have
who were
other
very
kids who are
alert
very
while we were
alert
driving.
while
They
we
like
was
to look
driving.
at
They like
things
to
out
look
of
at
the
things
windows.
out the window.
Sometimes children
Children
who are alert
who are
sit in the
alert
front of the
sit in front of the
classroom,
classroom,
and they're very
and they're
interested
very
in the
interested
lesson.
in the
So a
classroom.
child who is
So a
alert
child who is alert
doesn't always
doesn't
have their
always
eyes
have
wide
their
open,
eyes
but
wide
it's a
open.
good way
It's a
to
good
remember
way
the
to
word
remember the
alert.
word.
A child who
A
is
child
alert
who
is
is alert
certainly
is
paying
certainly
attention.
paying
A
attention.
child who is
A
alert
child who is alert
is certainly
is certainly
aware of
aware
what's
of
happening
what's
around
happening
them,
around
definitely.
them.
Let's see here.
Let's see here.
Yes, Brent has to
Brett
run.
has to run.
Sorry, Brent, I know
Sorry,
you have to
Brent,
work
you have
today.
to
I
work
don't.
today.
In
I don't.
Canada,
In
we don't
Canada,
work
we don't
on Good
work on
Friday. I
Friday.
know in the US
I
you
know
guys
the
still
US
do sometimes, but
sometimes,
we don't. We get the
but
day
we
off.
don't. We get a day off.
You might know a
You might
child
know
or
a
an
child
adult
or
who
an
is
Who
confident.
is
I need to remember when to tell you that we can use these
we can use
adjectives
these
for both
adjectives
adults
for
and
both
children, but
adults and
definitely
children.
a
But
child
definitely
or
a child
teenager
or
can be
teenagers
confident,
can be confident,
and an adult
and
can be
adults
confident
can be
as well.
confident as well.
When you are
When
confident, you are
confident, you are
sure of
sure
yourself.
of yourself.
You are
You are
self-assured. a couple of extra
couple
terms
extra
there.
term there.
When you are sure
When
of
you are
yourself,
sure
you
of
don't
yourself, you
doubt
don't
yourself.
doubt
So
yourself.
if you doubt
If you
yourself,
doubt yourself,
you don't think
you
you
don't
can do
think you
things.
can do
If you
things.
are confident,
If you're
you
confident,
believe you can do
you can do
something.
something.
If you were
If
on a
you are on a
basketball team
basketball
and the
team
coach
and the
said,
coach
you need to
said,
play,
"You need to
go on the
play, go
court.
on the court."
If you are
If you are
confident, you will
confident,
get up
you will
and you'll
get
go
up
on the
and you'll
court
go on the
and you
court
will
and you will
believe that you are going
that
to
you're
score
going
a
to
point
score a
or
point
2 points
or
in
2 points.
basketball. If you doubt
If you
yourself,
doubt
then you
yourself,
might not.
then you might
So,
not. Sure.
let's see here.
Let's see here.
Next word
Next
is
word is
considerate. I think we
considerate.
actually
I think
did
we
this
actually
word
did
in a previous describing lesson.
a previous,
But a considerate child
lessons.
is a
A
child
considerate
who
child
is aware
a
of
child
what
is
people
aware
around them
what
need
people
and
around
is
them
very
need,
helpful
they're really
and
helpful
kind and
kind
polite.
and polite.
So a considerate
So a
child
considerate
would hold the
child
door
would hold
open
the
for
door
me
open
when
for
I
me
walk
when
into
I
the
walk
school.
into the school.
A considerate
considerate
sister would
sister
help
would
their
help
younger
their
brother
younger
with
brother
his homework.
with his
Okay.
homework.
A considerate
A
person
considerate person
looks at
looks
people
at
around them
people
and thinks,
around
how
them
can
and
I
thinks,
help
"How
this
can I help
person?"
this
And then
person?
helps them
And then
do
helps
whatever
them
they're
do
doing. So
whatever they do.
in this picture,
In
you
this
can see
picture,
a sister
you can
helping
see
her
a
brother
teacher
with
helping their
homework.
parents with
I would
homework.
say that she's
I
a
would
very
say she's very
considerate
considerate
person.
person.
She understood that her
understood
brother
that
needed
her brother
help
needed
and she
help
helped him.
and helped him.
Considerate people are very
Considerate
nice.
people are very
When
nice.
I was
When I
young
was
and
young
when I
and
did
when
work
I
on the
did work
farm,
on the farm,
my mom was
my
very
mom was very
considerate. She would bring us
She would
food
bring
and
us food
snacks when
and
we were
snack
working on the
when we
farm.
were working on the
So again,
farm.
considerate is another one that you can use to talk about children and adults as well.
Talk about adults and children
Determined.
as well. Determined.
If a child or an adult is determined, they are going to work hard to get what they want. A determined student will listen in class and will do their homework and will even do more than their homework. A determined student will have like a calendar on their wall. They will plan how they're going to get their work done. A determined person wants to succeed and will work really hard in an organized and well thought out way to be successful. Okay? Another good example would be if you needed to pass an English test, a determined person would study every day for every single day before the test. They would be determined to pass the test, and you would see that they are determined by how much work they did. Let's see here.